As a fisherman, we always check the weather before fishing. We open the weather app and check the temperature, precipitation, and wind because those help us know what the fish are on. But did you know that there is something else you should actually check? Stay tuned to find out how barometric pressure affects bass. Alright, so let's start the video by talking about what is barometric pressure. Barometric pressure is basically just air pressure, which is the weight of the air pushing down on us from above. The air is constantly pushing down us due to gravity, and weather changes how lightly or how heavy the air is pushing down. Now let's specifically talk about how weather can affect pressure. When there's a high pressure system, which is usually really good weather, the air is cold and heavy, pushing down harder and creating more pressure. A low pressure system, which is likely bad weather, is caused when the warm air rises, and warm air is much less dense and lighter, allowing less pressure. To summarize, bluebird skies equals higher pressure, and rainy weather equals lower pressure. Now you might be wondering how this can affect bass. Now, bass, like many other fish, are very sensitive to weather. Bass can sense these environmental changes through their lateral line and swim bladder. When a big storm is about to roll in, bass can sense the drop in barometric pressure, which tends to make them more active and aggressive, as they naturally tend to feed before storms since water becomes more dynamic and unpredictable during storms. They also feel less weight, making them actively feeding. When it's bluebird skies and atmospheric pressure rises, the weather is calm and clear. Bass tends to become less active and more lethargic because there's much less movement in the water and the weather will be fairly stable, and there is usually not a lot of rain or winds. The bass will still feel comfortable to feed when they come across an easy meal, but they might not be actively feeding. To sum it up, fish feed more aggressively during wind, rain, before storms, and during storms, and they become more sluggish during clear skies, no clouds, no winds conditions. If you do find out that pressure is unfavorable, do not be scared. Still go outside and fish. Remember, fishing is not about choosing the absolute best day to go fishing. It's about you adapting to the fish. You can switch your lures, spots, and tactics to try to catch fish. Now let's talk about some of those tactics. If you are fishing before or during a storm, or conditions where it's cloudy or high winds, you likely have lower pressure. This means that fish are probably more aggressively feeding and they're going to stay much more shallow. You can choose to use moving baits and reaction baits like crankbaits, spinnerbaits, and topwaters. These can trigger the active fish to chase after your bait since they are constantly looking for a meal. You can also try bigger baits like swim baits since they are looking for a bigger meal. If it's sunny, low winds, and less clouds, there's probably higher pressure, resulting in the fish to go deeper and become much more sluggish. Bottom baits and slower baits might be the bet here. Texas rigs, chatterbaits, jerkbaits, downsized swim baits can really stand out here. You can still fish crankbaits, liplesses, spinnerbaits, and topwaters, but it might be more effective if you change up the presentation to allow a slower, more finesse look. For example, instead of a big double-willowed bulky spinnerbait, you can choose to use a smaller finesse, slow-rolled spinnerbait. Or instead of using a quick, loud buzzbait, use a frog or popper to provide a slower, calmer presentation. Fish's feeding patterns depends on many things, and although pressure is important, fish can still act differently based off of the season, environment, and location, and many other reasons. But again, it's certainly important to look at the pressure before you go fishing, as it can help you better adapt to the fish. If you enjoy this style of video, make sure to leave a like and comment down below what you would like to see next. Thanks for watching.